Hello and welcome. My name is Sarah Jane, and I'm here on behalf of Studio B. We will be practicing Yin Yoga for bearing witness. So, for this practice, you'll need a blanket or a mat, a comfortable surface, in other words, where there's not too much clutter around. Your bed will do. Uh, if you have a block, a yoga block, that would be great, but it's not necessary. If you have not practiced Yin Yoga before, I do want to let you know that we don't effort or aggressively put ourselves into these positions, and we hold them passively and stay for about 3 to 5 minutes. So know that when you are moving into position. So let's go right into our first pose. Our first pose is called butterfly. And you can lie back and do this pose, or you can sit up. So basically, in butterfly, we have the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide. And we are not pulling our feet in and pushing our knees down like we might in a yang style yoga practice. Our feet are well forward of the body. There's a big diamond shape here. And into this space, we might lean forward into the field of gravity. We're not pulling ourselves forward because our aim is not to get somewhere, but you do want to feel some sensation. So if you lean forward, see where you get. I should say too that some of us feel quite uncomfortable due to hip or knee vulnerabilities. It's really nice in this pose to put something soft underneath the outsides of the legs. So leaning forward into the field of gravity, if your torso gets pretty far forward, then your head, you're sort of holding it up. You're holding it up so it doesn't hang the whole time. Although rounding your back is totally fine. But for a spell, it's nice, and after a while, it can be too much for the neck. So you might forward fold and do something to hold up the head. If you're far enough forward, 1 block or 2 blocks or blocks in some sort of configuration, it's like playing Legos, will work. Lately, my favorite way to hold up my head is by just placing my elbows on my shins and holding my head in my hands. As I said, you can do this pose lying down. In that case, you might bring your feet a little bit closer to the body. So I'm counting on you to feel into the body and find a position where there's some sensation, but it doesn't seem as though it's going to be injurious in any way. So you might be here, you might be lying back, you might be sitting right up. I'm going to leave you in that position and face forward myself so I can guide a bit of meditation while you're here. So whatever position you found for yourself, close your eyes, close your mouth, breathe through your nose, if any of that feels okay. You can, of course, keep your eyes open and breathe through the mouth. Drop your mind down into the body. In other words, with your attention, take up residence there. Feel the sensations associated with being in this position, in this pose, right here, right now. Sensation will shift and change. Keep checking in. There might be one obvious sensation that's knocking at the door of your attention, or it might be that there are several shifting, arising, changing sensations in any given moment. Keep feeling in. I think of using the first pose as an opportunity to shift from thinking to feeling. Feeling what's here now, not just what's pleasant to feel in the body, but the unpleasant parts too, all of it. And see if you can relax any story making or worrying about the areas of the body you tend to worry about. And just be with it. Be in and with the body right here, right now. As you observe sensation in the body, you'll also notice there are emotions arising, thoughts. You're perceiving sounds from my room and yours. That's fine. You don't need to push those things away. See if you can include them. Particularly with thinking, we aren't including it in a way where we are giving it the kind of energy that will help it proliferate and evolve. We're trying to avoid plot lines. It's just that we're aware that thinking happens sometimes. You might even see a thought arise or observe or feel a thought arise in the body. And notice how you can let it go. Stay in this pose for about 3 more cycles of breath. And then slowly move out of position. And I recommend extending your legs and leaning back on your hands for a spell. Legs are soft. What's here now? What sensations are arising or dissipating? How do you feel? No doubt some of what you feel is pleasant and some is unpleasant. We're here for all of it. Let's take up our next pose. The next pose is Sphinx pose, which is a back bend that we do when we're lying on our front body, like this. Lying on the belly, but placing the elbows underneath the shoulders, lifting the rib cage up in effect. And that creates an arch in the back. If that arch feels too much, take your elbows forward, maybe hands into inner elbows to mitigate the arch. Play with how close together or far apart your feet are. Those of you who feel like there's not much sensation here, because we are interested in having a little bit of sensation, you might try, instead of Sphinx pose, Seal pose, which is taking the hands out and lifting up. For those of you down in Sphinx, you might bend your elbows and rest your chin on your hands. Or you might take a block in front of you on its high height, and without collapsing toward it, just turn the chin downward until the forehead meets the block. So find your back bend, Sphinx or Seal, and stay there, though I'm moving up. As before. And just the way the body is sort of resting, the belly and the fronts of the legs resting on whatever's below you, in that way, rest the mind down into the body. Fill the body with your attention, your kind attention. It might happen that some aspect of experience here is difficult. Perhaps there's been a difficult emotion present lately and it has arisen. I'm going to encourage you not to force that feeling away, but to allow it to be here. And it might feel more possible to do if you can imagine creating space around it. So go into the body, feel what's present, locate this difficulty in the body. How does it feel? What is its size, its shape, its quality? And expand your awareness around it, not so contracted around the difficulty and involved with it, but the difficulty is the weather and you are the sky. Your eyes might be closed, breathing in a gentle, natural way, and being with whatever is here, opening up to the present moment in the physical body, in the emotional body, in the mental body, or for short, in the body, the heart, and the mind. Inhabiting the body fully. Notice the physical sensations, the pangs and pressures. Noticing sounds. And the fact that the mind is producing thoughts and emotions, no doubt. Being here with all of it, with the life that's available to you right now in the container of the Sphinx pose. And I'll suggest now that we leave Sphinx pose. And when you do, no need to get up off of the bed or the mat or the blanket. If you've been here, simply stack your hands, take the elbows out, and bring the forehead down. I'm getting up because it's easier to speak that way, but you can stay there for a spell. Stay as long as you'd like resting on your belly. And when you feel ready to take up one more position, our final pose, the third of three, we'll do child's pose. So in child's pose, the basic shape is to send your sit bones back when you're sitting on your shins. You can have your legs together or the knees wide. Different effects, but do what feels right for you right now. So sit bones back toward heels. Mine happened to, my sit bones land, but that's not always the case. And torso forward and some sort of support for the head. So this pose can be done with blocks between the ankles, holding up the sit bones, or a blanket, a rolled up blanket there. It can be done with another block or blanket underneath the forehead. Some people think this pose is meant to be a resting pose, and for some it might feel restful. But once you find your version of child's pose, you rest, but it might not feel pleasant. It's a gentle pose in some bodies and not in others. If your knees feel like they're under a lot of pressure, I would invert your child's pose to gravity. I would just lie in the back, draw the knees in. That's a version of child's pose. So if there is sensation building up, not to become restless and wish it away, but to look with curiosity and interest. How is this moment now? As we stay in stillness with some discomfort, we are capacitating ourselves to bear, to tolerate that which is difficult or uncomfortable. We practice this in the body with yin yoga so that we can live it out in the world. So you are resting in child's pose. It might not feel restful, but you are relaxed in the pose, not doing anything, giving yourself to gravity. And you're befriending what is here, creating space for it. There's no limit to how spacious you can feel. Knowing that, create as wide and broad and deep a container as you need to be able to hold that which is yours to bear. Committing to being here with the life that is available now, bearing witness to the liveliness inside, including everything, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant. Expanding and becoming spacious in your awareness. Holding anything that feels difficult. The breath is gentle and natural. The pose is passive, not active. We are receptive, not seeking experience. Simply noticing what arises and saying yes to it. Being here with it. And now, if you'd like to move out of child's pose, you can lie on your back. You might draw a pillow under your head or behind your knees. Get comfortable. We've practiced 3 yin poses and used mindfulness meditation to capacitate ourselves to bear witness. And now we rest. Lying on your back, releasing the muscles and the bones down into whatever is below you. Maybe your eyes are closed, your mouth closed, breathing through the nose, if that all feels suitable to you. We'll be here for just a few minutes, resting. Perhaps that quality of spaciousness is here still. Perhaps doing less allows you to bear more. From your lying position, you might take a hand to the heart and a hand to the belly. With a sense of the life that's here now available to you. You might whisper to yourself, "May I live in safety. May I be healthy. May my heart be in peace." So, wishing safety, health, and peace to yourself. You might repeat those phrases, you might have your own. And then recognizing that our body, heart, mind, our experience of what it is to be human connects us to others. You might bring others to mind, your family, community, and whisper, "May you live in safety. May you be healthy. May your hearts be in peace." Just rest again. And in a few moments, you'll hear me strike a bowl 3 times. You can just rest a corner of your attention on that sound. As the sound fades, you might come up to sit. Sit in a comfortable position and perhaps taking your palms down on your chest, eyes closed, mouth closed, breathing through the nose. For a moment, Conjuring up the aspirations of the heart again, this time for all beings on the planet, and include yourself. May we live in safety. May we be healthy. May our hearts be in peace. May it be so. Thank you very much for joining me.